This week on Transport, we're firing up the wayback machine and going way back to the 1950s to see if the technology embodied in those ROXORs behind me will in any way, shape or form keep up with the Jeep TL. Now that's a 2019 model, and as I said, those date back to the CJ3 of the 1950s. So on paper, it shouldn't be anywhere close in terms of performance, but that's on paper. What about on the trail? Let's go take a look under the hood and find out. Powering this little beast is a 2.5 litre turbocharged 4-banger, which is governed to 55 miles an hour, as this is actually a UTV. It's not, as you might think, a road-going vehicle. So, because it's governed, the output is also governed to 63 horsepower, which, as you might think, probably isn't enough to pull a greasy string out of a dog's arsehole. However, off-road, it's a different story because this thing's got a lot of torque and it's geared very low. We've taken it up and down some pretty significant obstacles and it's handled with grace and aplomb. Now, on all four corners, we have leaf springs. Again, back to the 1950s in terms of technology, but it does have disc brakes up front, drum brakes rear, and about 9 inches of ground clearance. Now we've taken this thing and we've loaded it up with camping gear, guns, ammunition, steel targets, everything you need for a multi-day expedition. Oh yeah, we brought a flamethrower as well. And we brought some of our RECOIL staffers behind us, and we're going to put this thing to the test on some pretty rugged trails. We're going to mount up now, we're halfway through the road trip, and we're going to see what it can do. Because this is classified as a UTV, I'm supposed to wear a helmet while operating it. Nobody said what kind of helmet I was supposed to wear, so hence the M-Tech. There's no saying that you can't be cool while you're driving in a UTV. One thing I've noticed when driving this thing is that despite its lack of power, it actually does pretty well. And all of those 63 horsepower get transmitted down to the deck via the ultimate millennial anti-theft device consisting of 3 pedals and a stick. So 5-speed gearbox, transfer case, high, low, 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive options. And you know, this thing has taken a beating. It really has taken a licking and it's kept on ticking. It's kept up with the TL, no problem whatsoever. And although we haven't been on some of the most technical trails, it's still been a pretty challenging drive. We've now got 130 miles on the clock. When I picked this up, we had 6 total. So most of those have been off-road, some of them have been on fire roads like this, and it's done really, really well. I'm impressed. It really takes you back to the origins of four-wheeling, because you really have to think about your line, you have to think about what gear you're in, you have to think about maintaining traction at all times. So if you want to learn how to drive well, this is a pretty good option. Well, as you can see, we're now wrapping up in the dark after 3 days and over 300 miles of testing these ROXORs. And we've taken them on fire roads, we've taken them up hills, we've taken them through sand, through water, through snow, up Jeep trails, and hey, you name it, we've given these things a thorough beasting. And they've come out on the other side looking in pretty good shape. Now, I'm going to hand this back to ROXOR, and I hope that they don't pitch too much of a fit about it because it's pretty filthy. But really, for 16 grand, these things are the bomb. I mean, they've rescued vehicles way bigger and more capable on paper than they are, and they've come out on the other side, smiley, cheery little wagons. They say, 16 grand, folks, it's tough to beat them.